All right. Mhm. Imagine opening the door to walk outside your house when you look into the sky and find it ravaged by a dull tint of orange. As you look around you, there's a thick smog that covers your eyes and doesn't let you see for more than a few meters ahead of you. Sadly, this scene is far too common for many people across the world and may contradict the standard blue sky that we are so used to. This leads me to the question of what is the best solution to help alleviate the effects of wildfires? Even though Florida might not make headlines for its wildfires, it still ranks number 5 in the country in terms of total wildfires, with over 2,000 wildfires each year in Florida alone. The effects of wildfires do not just stay in Florida, as can be seen by the 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfire season, which resulted in the destruction of over 46 million acres of land and led to the destruction of 5,900 buildings. Sadly, in the end, it led to the deaths of over 1 billion animals. This led my group and I to separate the wildfires into its different aspects, including the loss of personal property, the decimation of wildlife, and the health risk, which is my own effect. As for the loss of personal property, a good example that portrays this is the 2017 Chile wildfires, in which over 1,000 buildings were destroyed, including shops, schools, and nurseries. This is caused because wildfires that burn through forests or meadows eventually reach a residential area where they're able to wreak havoc, as many buildings or other structures are made of flammable materials like wood. Then, for the decimation of wildlife, many small animals or young animals simply cannot outrun the fire. This leads to the tragic effects in many devastating events, such as the 2019 Bolivia wildfires, that resulted in the deaths of over 2.3 million animals in the Amazon rainforest. As for my own effect, there's the pollution aspect of wildfires. Wildfires cause pollution because they release smoke as they burn materials. This leads to an increase in airborne particles and also an increase in gaseous air pollutants like carbon monoxide. This is best seen in a study conducted by the Department of Energy in the US government, which found that there were over 90 micrograms per cubic meter of small particulate matter in heavy smoke environments, which is compared to the mere 20 micrograms per cubic meter during non-fire periods. This causes a variety of adverse health effects in people who breathe in this air. As, for example, another study found that this increase in small particulate matter leads to a decrease in lung functions and lung capacity, which is related to increased rates of school absenteeism as well as more visits to the hospital. Even more alarmingly, the same study found that chronic exposure to particle pollution leads to a shorter lifespan by up to 1 to 3 years. Moreover, particle pollution can also span vast areas of land. A great example of this is seen in Delhi, as northern farmers in the Punjabi region burn stubble to increase their farm output. At the same time, while they're just meaning to increase their farm output to provide more food to this vast amount of people in the region, they're also leading to more wildfires that create a lot of smoke that gets into the Delhi region, which in itself is cited as being one of the most, if not the most, polluted city in the world. And it leads to a variety of adverse health effects being cited as causing lung damage in kids. Also, the effects of wildfires are not just limited there, and it can also be seen in the U.S. as California is ranked number 1 in terms of states with the most wildfires in the country. In 2018, a series of wildfires ravaged through California, and the air pollution in the state at one point reached over 1,500 micrograms per cubic meter, which is vastly, vastly higher than the World Health Organization threshold of 25 micrograms per cubic meter, being up to 60 times higher than this threshold. Moreover, wildfire pollution does not just have to stay in lung damage. It can also affect the heart, as was seen by a report published by the American Heart Organization, which found that exposure to increased levels of small particle pollution led to over a small period of time led to increased cardiovascular disease related mortality, while at the same time longer exposures to it over years can lead to overall greater cardiovascular mortality. What this means is that those who were prone to get a heart attack before, in the short term, are more likely to do so. And over many years, those who might not have gotten a heart attack in the first place might do so. Wildfire pollution, and particular matter pollution caused as a result of this, can also have deeper lifetime effects, as can be seen by their effect on genetics. One study by the University of Stanford found that wildfire pollution can impact genes responsible for the development of T cells, which can lead to greater allergies and infections among children. Thankfully, there are many organizations working worldwide to help alleviate these horrible effects, such as the World Meteorological Organization, which works in over 193 countries, and also works with the World Health Organization to provide a system of early detection through air and smoke detections throughout the world to warn communities before the wildfire effects hit them. There's also the International Organization for Wildland Fire, which communicates with different regions of the world to provide banners and other information to let them know how to react in the event of a wildfire and how to protect themselves from the dangerous smoke that may be incoming towards them. Moreover, in the US, there are also many different organizations which also work to alleviate these effects. For example, there's the EPA, which developed an app called Smoke Sense. This app works by allowing individual citizens to collaborate and pinpoint locations where there may be hazardous smoke hazards due to wildfires, so other citizens can also avoid this location and not breathe in the same air. At the same time, there's also the California Air Board, which provides free masks to communities along the state to help protect the people from breathing in this air. As for my own innovative solution, I propose developing an app which not only uses the information gathered from citizen data, such as the EPA's app, but it also brings in global satellite imagery and AQI indices to create a more accurate report of what's actually happening with wildfires and map their patterns and movements such that can be used with artificial intelligence to warn communities before the wildfires even start. This could be made with free cost and work internationally by talking with individual local monitoring agencies. Finally, if we all work together to implement these programs, we can bring back years of life to communities that struggle with these wildfires. Thank you.